Good morning, Take Care Man family. Just going to give you a little bit of a channel update. Not sure when I'll be able to get it uploaded. Where I am right now, out on my family's land in northwest Alabama, taking a little walk this morning. It's a beautiful morning, and it's nice to be able to get out here and get a little walk in, but it's going to be a tough day. It's my day of my stepmom's funeral. She fought cancer for a long time and fought hard and valiantly and as tough as nails, and now she's at rest. In fact, we were looking the other day at pictures of when we told our family, my wife and I told our family that we were pregnant with our daughter, who's now 17. And in that picture, my stepmom is wearing a bandana on her head because she had lost her hair due to the chemo. She's fought for, over 17 years. And she was ready to rest. Of course, it's going to be hard for all of us to say goodbye to her, and particularly my dad. She has so many grandkids, great grandkids, but I just want to get on here. I'm sorry that the video is a little jittery. Didn't bring a gimbal or my GoPro, so may have a little vibration in this video. Sorry about that. But haven't posted a video in a while, and I think you know how much this channel means to me, how much my viewers and listeners to both this channel and to the Take Care Men Mental Health Podcast mean to me. I have a couple of giveaways I still have to send out. So for those of you that are waiting for that, I appreciate your patience and understanding. August and September are tough times for my family. And by that I mean my wife and daughter and I, because my wife and I are both educators. So August, September, pretty busy time in our house. So I have lots of great video ideas in the works, and looking forward to getting into these fall scents for shaving. And so that'll all be coming up very soon on the channel. But I just want to take you with me on this walk this morning. So let me show you around a little bit. So this is land in, as I said earlier, northwest Alabama. It's my family's land, and it's what we call the Cove. It's the site of an important archaeological dig called the Stanfield-Worley Bluff Shelter, and I'll put a link to the Wikipedia article below. But basically, the Stanfield in Stanfield-Worley is my grandpa, who died when I was 3 years old. But he gave the University of Alabama permission to do an archaeological dig down here out the shelter, which is, I guess, about 3/4 of a mile back that way. But we call it the Cove because it's nestled inside of bluffs. I don't know how you're going to see this, but let me turn you around here. So I put on the macro mode here, maybe you can see, but it's basically a cove or a little miniature valley that sits down between bluff cliffs. And you'll kind of see that a little bit better as I get to the top of this hill, but gives you a little bit of an idea of what it looks like down here. Here beeping going on. I've got my heart rate monitor going on my watch this morning, trying to log this exercise, get a little credit for it, if you will. Well, you can see that, but the sun's breaking through over the top of the cliff there and coming down into the cove. You see a little bit more of the cove over here. And I don't know if you can see the bluff or part of the rock walls there. There certainly are taller bluffs here in the cove, but this is the one on the road out, which is pretty steep road, a pretty steep hill right here. It's probably hard to tell on camera how steep it actually is. When I was a YMCA camp counselor, YMCA summer camp counselor, which is where I met my wife. She was a lifeguard at the local pool. I'd carry my kids from the Y to the pool. But I brought them down here for a day of fun towards the end of the summer, where they got to basically assault me with whipped cream and, believe it or not, shaving cream, cans of Barbasol, which, by the way, if you ever do that, don't get any of them mentholated, because if it gets in the kids' eyes, it burns. That was a dumb move on my part. The bus driver who was with me, she did not want to drive out the bus on this hill, so she had me drive it out of here. Of course, I've had lots of experience driving out in and out of here. Let me flip you around and show you the beautiful sunlight coming through the trees. So quiet and peaceful down here. This might give you a little better idea of how steep the hill is. That's a road way down there at the bottom that you can see in that crack in the bushes. Of course, this is a road here, but it goes on down the hill, and there's still more hill to go. All right, made it to the top of the hill. Got some good sunlight coming in here, helping me wake up. I know this is not the type of content most of you are here for, but I just want to say thank you to this community who has supported me through a lot of things, and this is one of them. A lot of you reached out to me on Facebook and offered your condolences, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And yeah, I still love wet shaving, but what I love even more is the friends I've made through this. It's amazing. I can't believe that a hobby like this has brought me this many really good friends, and it means the world to me. Let me give you a little bit more of the sun. You can see it's right in my eyes here. Let me give you a little another view of that. So now I'm up on what we would call up top, meaning I've made it to the top of the hill. Well, it's still going up actually a little bit, but for the most part, I've made it up the hill. But you know, I knew this was going to be a tough day, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not that great at home, getting out and getting a walk. One, I don't live in something as beautiful as this to be able to get out every day and walk in it, but that's no excuse. I have a treadmill right there and could watch shaving videos on my iPad while I walk, and got some nice parks close by I could go walking, or even on my street. So no excuses, but I knew I had to get out here today and do this because it's going to be a tough one. It'll be a tough day. So I just wanted to get out here and get this walk in and say good morning and thanks to all of you. And I'll show you a few more images from my walk here. So I lived out here on this land until I was 13 years old. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my mom and us moved into town. But I wanted to show you the house I grew up in until I was 13. So that's the house I grew up in. That window that's kind of behind the tree on the right was my bedroom window. Sounds like they have a dog. Hopefully it's an offense or anything. Oh shit. There was actually multiple dogs, not just from that house, but the one across the road. But thankfully I don't think they're following me. So my family and I would appreciate your prayers in the days ahead. Just keep praying particularly for my dad. It's going to be difficult for him. He's also tough. He's been through loss earlier in his life, and I'm confident he can handle this one, but I know how much I love my wife and can't imagine losing her, so I can't really fully appreciate what he's going through, but I know what my stepmom meant to me. I learned a lot from her, and she treated me like her own son, and there's not much more you can ask for than that. And I learned a lot from her. I learned that she told me this story one time about first day she picked cotton. She thought she'd kind of cheat a little bit, and she put some rocks in her cotton bag. Now that she was a young girl at the time, but because the Carolyn I know now would never do that. But the problem is that she then was expected to pick that quota and wait in the coming days. So she kind of set the standard too high for herself. So she always sort of, would talk about, being honest, and that sometimes lack of honesty would come back to bite you, and that you had to keep up with your previous lies, if that makes sense. Another thing she taught me, she would talk a lot about bought lessons. And what she meant by that was that some lessons in life are learned the hard way, and that they often extract a pretty high price for making some poor decisions, or for going through something tough that is not necessarily your fault, but that you learned how to be resilient and grow through. And currently, certainly the day would classify the day of her funeral. But she called those lessons you go through that cost you a lot and extract a high price as bought lessons, meaning you paid for them. They were something you paid for in blood, sweat, and tears, or regret, or whatever, right? Whether they're your fault or not your fault or whatever. But just this idea of a bought lesson, meaning you really paid for it, so you remember the lessons from it. So I thought that was a cool phrase. I'd never heard anybody else say before, a bought lesson. Another thing she taught me was to be grateful for what I had. I remember when I moved to Tennessee from here in Alabama and took a job where I currently teach. I was leaving behind a house that my wife and I thought would be our forever house in Alabama, and we had not sold our house yet in Alabama, so we had to move into an apartment. And I hate apartment life. I like my privacy, and I don't like to hear feet walking above me, or I don't like to worry about having to turn my music down because it might disturb my neighbors. But I was kind of complaining about moving into an apartment and having to leave Alabama, and there just wasn't a position for me at the school I had been teaching at part-time, and also working full-time in a non-teaching capacity. And so I had to find work somewhere else because I had my degree and wanted to start teaching full-time. And so I was having a little pity party about having to move somewhere else, away from family, away from my family, my wife's family. And I can't remember what she said exactly, but she basically said, look, be thankful you have a job. Like, there's a lot of people that need a job that can't find one. And you have the benefit of having an education, and so you have a good job. And walking back down this hill right now, by the way, so it's a little treacherous. And so, you know, she just reminded me to count my blessings, and that, you know, what might seem like a challenge you don't want to go through is comparative to other people not much of a challenge at all. And so she just reminded me to be appreciative of what I have and be thankful for what I have and show gratitude. And she certainly lived that way throughout her life. So yeah, my stepmom was an amazing woman, and I was out getting this walk this morning. Thought it was a great time to talk about her, and not looking forward to the funeral today, but it will be a celebration of her life, and she lived her life well. As I said in my Facebook post, the combination of the heart of an angel and the determination of a warrior are rare combinations in an individual, but she had both of those in abundance, and she will be missed dearly. And just sort of as a matter of a confession, you know, I'm thinking about losing my stepmom, and, you know, also thinking about my dad, you know, being older, and I realize I take my health for granted, and I'm not in the best of health. I'm not in bad health by any means, in terms of I don't have any, you know, debilitating illnesses. I sleep with a CPAP mask at night, have a fatty liver. My doctor says I'm basically almost in the pre-diabetic range. So, but all that taken into account, I have good health. My point is I don't work to really make it better health. Neglect my body, don't get out and do this kind of thing enough, and don't eat well consistently. And you know, I'm currently the heaviest I've ever been in terms of, you know, weight, obviously heavy, of course. But I want to be around for my wife and daughter and all the other goals that I have in life, and want to set a good example for people that watch this channel. And I know if you're watching this video, you're a dedicated listener, particularly if you made it this far. And so I'm going to be trying to post more about my health. That's part of what this channel is about. And, you know, to me, it's not really credible to talk about taking care of yourself if you're not really taking care of yourself. And so I'm going to try to model that more for you guys and for those around me, and appreciate what I have, and not focus on what maybe I don't have. Also try not to focus on past mistakes, but to move forward and to be honest and to appreciate those bought lessons, and just be grateful for what I have. And so, Carolyn, I thank you for those lessons. Love you always, and see you on the other side. So anyway, I appreciate you watching this update video, and appreciate all your support, and definitely appreciate your prayers in the days ahead for my family, particularly for my dad, and appreciate each and every one of you. So, as always, thanks for watching. Take care, man.